All right, welcome back, Kyle High Club. This will be the MMA series number 4. I'll be covering UFC Fight Night 147, Till vs. Masvidal. I'll be going through that fight-by-fight recap. I'll primarily focus on the top 3 fights of the night, but I'll go through some of the prelims as well. I'll touch base on them. And then after that, I'll probably play a little ad after that. So if you want to skip that, go ahead and skip that. And then I'll start with the UFC Fight Night 148 preview. And that main event is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. So looks like there's some good cards on that event as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with the recap from this past weekend in London at the O2 Arena. And all these fights are on ESPN Plus. You can watch them all right now on ESPN Plus. I actually just rewatched Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes and Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson, because I kind of missed most of those fights because I ended up hanging out with a girl during these fights, and these were during the day since they were in London. So just ended up smoking with this chick, and of course, I was like, hey, you gotta leave, right? Like, I'm trying to take you back home, like, and this is before the main event or main card even started. I'm like, all right, word. She told me she had to be out by a certain time. I'm like, cool. That was perfect. I'll be able to watch all the good fights. And then she's like, oh, no, it's okay. I could stay, blah, blah, blah. Then the fucking Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes fight started, and then we started messing around. She just grabbed my dick, and one thing led to another. So I got distracted from the fights, but I was able to drop her. I was able to finish and then drop her off and come back and watch the main event live, which was awesome. Missed the 2 fights before it, but I literally just rewatched them about 30 minutes ago. They're both good fights, so I'll be able to talk about those. But first we'll start with the prelims, beginning with the very first card. Mike Grundy versus Narimani. Grundy finished him in the second round. I don't really remember how, but I remember he looked really, really good, so congrats. The next fight, Molly McCann got the decision versus Priscilla. I'm not even trying to say her last name, but she looked pretty solid. Danny Henry and Dan Ige was a good fight. I think I put money on Henry right before the fight started because he was an underdog, and he looked like a promising up-and-comer. He looked bigger and stronger than Ige, but yeah, Ige got a fucking submission in the first round. A minute and 17 in, so nothing's wrong there. And yeah, fucking fucked up. Excuse me, that's really gross. I apologize. Next fight was Nikolay Negumereanu versus Sabarov. Sabarov ended up getting the win. I remember he looked pretty good, if not dominant. So congrats to that guy. Look forward to seeing him again. And then the next fight, which was really the only fight that I was looking forward to on the prelims, was Mark Diakise versus Joe Duffy. Joe Duffy hadn't been in for a while. Mark Diakise had a decent layoff. But Diakise looked really, really nice. He just looked, and I believe I said this before, that he looked like the more athletic fighter. He might be able to pick up apart Duffy just by his athleticism, and that's really what it came down to. Duffy's a solid guy, and he's got solid strikes and technique, but he's just not as athletic as Diakise and probably most of the guys at lightweight at 155, at least the guys in the top 15. So it'll be tough for him to break in there, but I think both these guys are top 15 guys any given night. It was a good fight, but Diakise definitely won. And then To close out the prelims, it was Arnold Allen versus Jordan Rinaldi. I believe Allen is a UK fighter, a guy from England. So with it being in London, that was a good place to put in the prelims. He looked really good, solid, got a win versus a decent fighter in Jordan Rinaldi. And start off the main card, we had Jack Marshman versus John Phillips, and Jack Marshman looked solid. And basically just outstruck him, outpointed him the entire fight. I got the decision win. The next fight was Danny Roberts versus Claudio Silva. I don't think really too much was happening in this fight in the first couple rounds. I don't know how I would have scored it personally, but in the third round, Silva, I said Sylvia, so my bad, his name's Claudio Silva. It seemed like he got a armbar on Roberts, and the referee stopped it for a verbal submission, quote unquote. I don't think he said, "Oh, I'm done, I tap," and he did not tap with his hand, but supposedly he screamed like pretty loud in pain, and then so the referee stopped it in that. I don't know. I think he had the armbar in and looked pretty bad, so I don't question the decision. And honestly, in the rules state, it is up to the discretion and interpretation of the referee during the fight, and that's how it is in all sports. Every penalty flag thrown, every foul call, every stoppage in a fight is all a referee's opinion and interpretation of the rules and how things are unfolding in him in real time and through his eyes, through the lenses of his eyes. So it's not an easy job. And if you think it's an easy job, go fuck yourself, because it's not. And, I didn't think it was a bad stoppage. I think Roberts had some choice words to say after the fact, but, it is what it is. And that's a shitty way to put it and end my statement on that fight, but that's just how cookie crumbles, I guess. Whatever saying you want to use. The next fight was a really good one between Nathaniel Wood and Jose Quinones. Nathaniel Wood is a younger fighter. He's 25, I think. I think he's American. But either way, he really solid versus a veteran in Quinones, who's, I've seen, when I say veteran, but he's only 7-3, where Nathaniel Wood's 16-3, which is a shit ton of fights to have by 25. This guy's had 19 professional fights, and he's only 25 years old. That's insane. But early on, I thought Quinones looked really good. He was good, and I thought the better of him in this fight on the feet. So I thought, I was instantly regretted that I didn't put money on Quinones, because he was a pretty sizable underdog. I think it was like plus 245 at the time. I know I've seen him fight before, but I knew Nathan Wood just has pretty good pressure and good wrestling, good clinch work, and even though he's young, he's pretty much a veteran fighter. He basically has 20 fights. There's more guys that are above him on the main event than some guys like Dominic Reyes. Leon Edwards has 20 fights. Oldest Namir has 20 fights. Gunnar Nelson basically has 20 fights. Darren Till has 20 fights. So, he's experienced, Nathaniel Wood, and I ended up getting the victory. I don't remember the exact submission he got, but he ended up getting a submission halfway through the second round. And I think it was just his pressure just eventually broke past Keone's guard, and although I think Wood might have been the bigger guy and maybe even longer, Keone's is good at using his reach, good at using distance. That's the way he fights. But I think Wood's pressure was too much. He ended up, I want to say he got him a choke, which he probably did. I don't remember too much, though. should probably look that up before I start this, but we already into it, so fuck it. So the last 3 fights of the night, and these are the ones I was really, really looking forward to. These are good fights, good matchmaking by the UFC brass and corporation, and wow. So I just literally rewatched the Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes fight, and Dominic Reyes ended up getting a split decision over Volkan, 29-28. Two guys had, or all 3 judges had 29-28. One had it for Volkan, the other 2 had it for Reyes, which I could not believe. When I watched the fight, I scored the first 2 rounds to Volkan 10-9, and then the last round Reyes 10-9. And really Reyes, I mean, it was a good fight all around. You could tell Reyes, I mean, he's still undefeated, so he won. In my eyes, I think he lost the fight. I thought Volkan, I don't know the statistics, and maybe I should look at those, but I'm not a too big believer in the statistics, because just because a guy lands more punches or more strikes means he won or he's beating up the other guy more. It's about damage and what affects you the most. So I thought whenever Volkan landed, it seemed like more powerful and more damaging strikes than when Reyes was. And not to say Reyes didn't land powerful strikes either. I just thought Volkan landed more, and especially the first 2 rounds, he was the guy pushing forward. He had very good head movement and defense. He blocked most of Reyes' punches and strikes in the first 2 rounds. Yeah, what? These statistics just don't make sense. And Volkan got he got a takedown, I think, in both rounds. So I thought he clearly won the first 2. I don't see how. I mean, Reyes looks more fluid, and he's more of a flashy striker and fighter. So I could see how somebody that doesn't know the sport and doesn't know what a fight is could think, oh, this guy's doing better because he looks more athletic. But that doesn't mean anything. It matters about how much you're beating up the other guy, essentially. That's what it comes down to. If you have a damage bar, think of it as a video game, whose damage bar or health bar is lowest at the end of the round or end of the fight, and that's who you gave it to, or who you thought dominated more. Just because a guy is more slick on his feet and more athletic doesn't mean he's winning. It's just mean he's more athletic. That's it. He just has a better skill set in one area. And I think Reyes definitely, I gave him the 3rd round, but I could see how you could give the 3rd round to Volkan. But Volkan didn't do too much. He spent a lot of the round backpedaling the 3rd round. And Reyes caught him with a knee. They were clinched up against the cage. I think Reyes had his back against the cage, but he was able to slip out of it, spin around him to where Ozdemir's back was at the cage. It wasn't against the cage. He was standing a little away from it, but Reyes had the center, and as Ozdemir was coming in to get closer, to get within striking distance of Reyes, because Volkan's the shorter guy, so he had to be creative on how he got into the pocket, slip his head when a punch came and come up with a hook or uppercut or whatever, shot to the body. But as Ozdemir was coming in, Reyes hit him with a devastating... they didn't talk about it too much on the commentary when I just watched it, but I thought that knee was damaging, and you could tell right away. I thought he hit him pretty good with the knee to the body, and Volkan started backpedaling after that. And he kind of just played it safe and realized, okay, I definitely think I won the first 2 rounds, so I'm going to take it easy and just make sure this guy doesn't submit me, doesn't finish me. And it seemed like Reyes was going after it, and he definitely won the last minute of that round. And I'd probably just give him the round overall because he did more damage, but and Volkan didn't do too much. But yeah, it was a good fight. It sucks to see Volkan take a loss for a fight I think he won, at least with how the scoring system is now and stuff. But who knows? I think this is another case where I think I said in my last podcast how I think they should change the scoring system. I think, and it's not going to be, it wouldn't be a huge change because at the end of the day, you want a scoring system to be reflective of how that works and takes out the shittiness of the judges. So you want it to be clear as possible that anybody in the world could score this fight and not fuck it up. Even though I'm sure they'd still find a way. But if in this fight they did what I said in my last podcast, each guy starts with a 9. Right now each guy starts with a 10 each to begin a round, and then if you win the round, you get the 10. If you lose, you get a 9, and that's how it is. You can't give both guys a 10. You can't give both guys 9s. You can give a guy 10-8. You can't give a guy 9-8 or whatever. But the way I think it should be done is both guys at the beginning of the round start with a 9, and then it stays 9-9 unless one guy decidedly wins the round. He lands more punches, he damages him more, or whatever. And, people that know the game will know who really won the round, based off their expertise and knowing what's going on. But the reason why I think this would work for judges who don't know the game, they're just, I don't know, looking and reacting to the crowd making noise. I don't fucking know what they're watching. But if you personally, individually cannot definitely tell and give me a reason why one person won the round over the other, why they did better than them, then both guys stay at 9-9. And so if that was put in place, at least for this fight, I think, instead of, 3 scores, 29-28 to Reyes, 1 to Volkan, I think at least personally how I would have scored it, I would have scored it 10-9 Volkan the first round. And then the second round, I think he did more, but yeah, it wasn't decidedly that Volkan won. So I personally would have scored it 9-9. And then I would have given Reyes 10-9. So I would have scored it a draw. And maybe one of those judges would have scored it a draw. And this would end up being a draw. Or the guys that thought Reyes won one of the first 2 rounds, they give it a 9-9 instead. So yeah, he ends up a draw, or they give both rounds 9-9 and then the last one to Reyes and he still wins. Who knows? But I don't know. It's upsetting to see when you think a guy, and it sucks for the UFC because they have a win bonus. You get paid. You're guaranteed a certain amount. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's $50,000. You get paid that no matter what. But then if you win, you get an extra $50,000. So it sucks if you are on the wrong side of a decision, and especially if it's a split decision or a controversial decision, because then you literally lose half your money, half your potential money. And meanwhile, yes, I think the win bonus will probably give an incentive to winning and trying harder. But nobody's going into a cage fighting thinking, oh, I'm going to lose because I'm not being incentivized enough to win, for money or whatever. I don't know. I think it's very disheartening for these guys who, like Volkan, I feel really bad for him. He's on a losing streak. He lost to, I believe he lost to DC for the championship belt. Last time DC fought in light heavyweight, and then Volkan lost to Anthony Lionheart Smith by rear naked choke in the last minute or closing seconds of the third round versus Smith, and that would have gave him a shot at John Jones, but he lost. Anthony Smith got the shot. And now Volkan lost again versus, really good fighter and up-and-comer. And, and he lost half his money in a fight I thought he won. So he was ranked 6th before this fight. We'll see after. They might drop him out of the top 10. He hasn't won in fucking 3 fights, but I think he's definitely a top 10 fighter. He's a top 5 guy. He's just faced some tough guys and, just on a losing streak and lost half his money because of, I think, a shitty decision by some judges. It's not the worst decision I've ever seen, but yeah. And congrats to Reyes. I'm not taking anything away from him. He looked really good, and he is really good. I think he called out John Jones after the fight, which I don't think is smart. I don't know. He looked really good. He's about the same size as him. He'll definitely face John Jones someday for the belt, but I don't think he's quite ready. I'd rather see Diego Santos versus Bones, but we'll see how that shakes out. Maybe give Reyes a Lionheart or somebody else in the top there, and then we'll see. So then the co-main event of the night, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. That's the good stuff. Thanks for staying with me. Co-main event of the night. I was really looking forward to this. I actually put some money down on Gunnar Nelson. I think I said this before in the preview on the previous episode, mainly just because he's Icelandic, he's that Viking culture, and my ancestors come from around there, and Vikings are just cool as fuck, so I bet it on him. It was pretty much a 50-50 fight in my mind. I thought, honestly, Nelson was going to win, but I was wrong, and wrong decidedly. And honestly, whoever fucking the judges in this fight too, they suck, man. The judges suck. Like, I don't know what they were looking at. I mean, I think they got the decision right. Leon Edwards definitely won the fight, but if I remember correctly, one judge actually scored it for Gunnar Nelson 29-28. And I'll go through the fight and explain why I don't think that's right. Another judge scored it 29-28 Leon Edwards, and another one scored it 29-27 Leon Edwards, and that's actually how I scored it. So the first round I scored 10-9 Leon Edwards, mainly because he was better on his feet. He outstruck Nelson when they were on the feet, but then in the grappling exchanges, Gunnar Nelson actually took him down first, and held him there for a little bit, but didn't get off, really any shots or damaging effects or damaging strikes. But then Leon reversed the position and actually was on Nelson's back for a good while. And I think that honestly set the pace for the rest of the fight, was when Nelson essentially realized, and I guess Leon Edwards realized too, okay, he could hold his own on the ground in the grappling sphere with Nelson. And coming into the fight, that was the entire talk. Oh, if it goes to the ground, Nelson's, it's over. He's going to choke him out. It's going to be a quick fight. That's what everyone thought. I think Gunnar Nelson thought that, but Leon Edwards did not. Someone forgot to forward that memo to him. He did not get that word. And yeah, right off, to end the first round, he held Nelson in that position for a good minute and a half or so, I want to say, maybe even 2 minutes, and essentially stole that round away from him. He landed more strikes when they were on the feet. Nelson controlled it, and it looked like he was going to control him for the rest of the round on the ground, but then Edwards flipped it and flipped the script. And I think that went a long way in deciding this fight, and I think it not only physically took a toll on Gunnar Nelson because he kind of held him down there. Nelson's not used to getting held down on the ground, and I don't think he was ready for it in this fight versus Leon Edwards. So when he did, it was devastating physically, and I think more so mentally, because he realized, oh fuck, the advantage I thought I had decidedly is not there. And then it's like shit, and you could kind of see it after the first round in his corner, in his eyes, that this wasn't going to be as easy as he thought, and he was going to be in for a fight. And you could tell Leon was focused, he was prepared, and he was game. And he then went out there and he dominated Nelson in the second round. I actually gave it a 10-8. He was obviously the better striker than Nelson. He was just better all around this entire fight, Edwards was. He was more fluid on his feet, more consistent, more active, more athletic. And then he actually took it down. Well, he had a knockdown versus Nelson in the second round. It was pretty devastating. Gunnar jumped in with a punch. I can't remember if it was a left or a right. And then got into the clinch, and Edwards clinched with him, but then as he broke the clinch, he came with the elbow, right? It was really tight and really powerful. It was really quick too, just right across his chin, and that rocked Nelson. He put him on the ground. He was face down, ass up for a little bit, but then he switched over to his guard and just rode out the round and just tried to survive. And that was crazy. So I gave him the 10-8 because he had that knockdown, and he was beating him. He was beating him up all before that, and then he had a devastating knockdown. So I think he dominated that round. So I think that's a 10-8 round. And then to close out the fight, Leon looked good on the feet. The third round, he didn't do too much. Neither did Nelson really. But then Gunnar actually got him taken down and got him a full mount with a minute left. And you could see during the fight, he turned around to look up the clock to see how much time he had left to see, because he probably knew he had to get a finish to win it. So he had a minute to work to try to finish Edwards while he had him in the top mount, full mount. And Edwards just hugged on to his body, kept his head close to his body so he couldn't get any powerful shots on his head. Just defended himself and survived, and went to the judge's decision, went to the judge's scorecards. And as I stated before, one judge had it for Nelson, which I think was ridiculous. I gave Gunnar Nelson 10-9 the last round, but there's no way Nelson won the second. No way. And if you don't score that round in 10-8, then what the fuck's a 10-8 round, guys? One judge did. One judge got it right. He scored 29-27. So applaud that guy. The guy that scored this fight to Nelson, you suck. Maybe you gave Gunnar the first round because he took him down and you just owned a takedown. But I mean, it wasn't a solid takedown. He only held him there for a minute. But then Edwards reversed the position that Gunnar Nelson initiated, and we decidedly know he has the advantage. And he had an advantageous position, but then Edwards flipped it and controlled him for far longer, if not twice as long. And he beat him on the feet standing up before Nelson took him down. And Nelson landed no punches or strikes while he had him down and in control. So I don't see how you score the first round for Nelson. So that judge should be fired. Check your credentials, go to a training academy, something. Watch more fights. Get UFC Fight Pass and just have fights on all the time. I don't know what to tell you. But it was a good fight. Again, I lost money on that fight, sadly, because the Icelandic Gunnar Nelson not pulled out, but I'm not sad. It was a very good fight. Very impressed by Leon Edwards. And I look forward to who he fights next. He was ranked 10th, so he'll definitely be higher than that. At least, I'd say at least top 7. Maybe give him a guy top 5 and see how he does. Because he looked really good, man, and he looked really focused, really sharp, and he's probably just going to keep getting better and better. Yeah. And I know Gunnar Nelson will be back. He didn't get destroyed or dominated during the fight, so he won't have to heal up too much. No injuries. He might have broken orbital bone on his eye, around his eye, but and yeah, that's nasty. It looks bad, and it is definitely painful, but it heals quick. Shit around the eye heals very, very quickly, which I did not know that until I actually got hit in the face with a rubber dodgeball, like one of those dodgeballs for the movie Dodgeball, and those things fucking hurt. I got hit square on the eye. If it, instantly knew, oh fuck, that might have been a concussion. But then for the next week, I couldn't see out of a portion of my right eye. It's not like I couldn't see. I could see. It was just blurry in a certain zone. And it was bothering me a little bit, like give me headaches during the day and things like that. It was a little tough to sleep. And actually it would be fine right before going to sleep. And I'd wake up in the morning and be fine, but then as the day went on, it would get worse and worse. And so I ended up going to an eye doctor for that, and they ended up seeing there was only small bruising on the eye, like they could barely find it. They had to do x-rays twice on that bitch, and they barely even saw it out, because the first time they're like, yeah, there's nothing there, you're good. I was like, you sure? Because I can't see, bro. And so they have this little chart thing. It's like looking at a piece of graph paper, and you just hold the other eye closed, that one that's not fucked up, and you look at the paper, and then you just outline the place that is blurry, and just rough estimate. And it was kind of cool seeing that, and it was like a good, if you know what quadrants are in mathematics, which I don't know if. The first quadrant is where X and Y axis are positive. I couldn't essentially see that entire part of the graph. I could see second, third, and fourth. If you go from top right, if you take a piece of paper, take a square, split it into 4s evenly, into 4 even squares. The first quadrant is the top right square. Second quadrant is bottom right. Third is bottom left. Fourth is top left. So I couldn't see the whole first quadrant, top right corner, which is pretty crazy. But then as days went on, it got smaller and smaller. But the main reason I bring that up is eyes heal really fast, and that's what the doctor told me, which I didn't know. But it made a lot of sense. And I actually watched this. I'm sorry, I'm going off a crazy tangent. Watched this documentary about. It's Leaps in Evolution. It's on Curiosity Stream. It's the first episode, and it's just eyes, and it's all about how eyes are essentially the first leap in evolution, in biological evolution, because in genetics, because it allowed beings to see what they were doing and where they were going. And then essentially all organisms started from Earth, from the bottom of these vats in the ocean, small single-celled organisms. They eventually grow bigger and bigger, multi-cell, and then just think of like a tiny microscopic species, almost like a plankton, but smaller. Essentially, they had no eyes, nothing, but they had sense and feel, and they could sense the sun and the light, higher. As they went higher in the depths of the ocean, it was stronger. And so over time, over hundreds of thousands of years, organisms started to develop a spot on, their body where it had an increased perception to this light, and where it was attracted to the light, and it would just kept going closer and closer to the light, keep getting, this zone that would focus on the light would keep getting more and more intense, allow for more light to come in, and eventually this grew into a fucking eyeball, and then grew into the human eyes that we use today to view and perceive the world. And it's just fascinating. And the reason why it heals so fast is because of that evolutionary history. It's one of the first fucking organs ever developed, and it's hundreds of thousands of years old, millions of years old, and heals quickly because its programming is pretty fucking good, man. It's had a lot of time to fucking, develop over history. So there's a lot of neurons and genetic material and DNA and stuff in the eyes that help it heal fast. I'm not a scientist, so don't get mad at me, but that's essentially what doctors explained to me. So back to the fights. Nelson looked like he broke an orbital bone, but I think he'll be back pretty quickly. And somebody else in the fight, I think it was Molly McCann, might have broke her orbital bone as well, but she ended up fucking winning the fight. Hers looked really nasty by the end of the fight. Her eye was completely closed up, and it was gross. She's a cute girl, but god damn, that looked so painful. And she toughed it out for a whole round and then ended up winning the fight. I couldn't imagine getting punched there during a fight, but they probably both had their adrenaline running, so they probably didn't feel it. But they're feeling it right now. It's probably tough to eat afterwards. I feel for them. But they'll both be back stronger than ever, I'm sure. So the main event was Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal. Darren, the Gorilla Till, and Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Fucking, if there isn't a better nickname for Masvidal than Gamebred, then I don't know what there is. I don't know what it'd be. Because, man, this dude is fucking game-bred. He's game-ready, son. A lot of people didn't give him a chance, especially in the O2 Arena in London, in England. Till's from Birmingham, England. So it's not his hometown, but it's his home country. The whole entire fan base and fans in the arena were there because of him. He was the main draw for this card. Number 3 guy in the world. Masvidal's number 11, hadn't fought in a while. But he's game-bred, he's a veteran. He's tough as nails. He's tough as anybody out there. And, he beat up Till. It was a good back and forth in the first round. Honestly, I don't know how I would have scored it. I think Masvidal might have landed more, but Till landed some damaging strikes too. Back and forth. I'd have to watch it again. Off top of my head, I can't decide, so I'd probably give it 9-9. If anything, if I remember, I would have given it to Till. I think I said that in the moment. But fucking Masvidal, man, is fucking tough, man. He can take those shots. He has a fucking chin. You can tell he just likes fighting. He's got a darkness in him somewhere. Like, if this guy was a professional UFC fighter, he'd be in a gang somewhere. He'd be a fucking hitman. Or he'd be somebody's right-hand man. He's like, okay, who you need to beat up today? Or, who you need me to assassinate? I got you. That's what Masvidal would be doing if he wasn't a professional fighter, most likely. He seems well-spoken, so maybe not. Maybe I'm being very judgmental. But, dude can scrap, and he connected with Till a few times. You could tell Till started to feel his power and realize that this dude can fucking hit. This dude is tough. But he kept charging forward because that's Till. That's who he is. He's a fighter, man. He's tough as nails as well. But Masvidal, I think he ducked one of Till's punches. Had some good head movement and came over top with the left overhand. And fucking got it right on Till's chin, and then another follow-up, and finished the fight. Till was out. He might have been out on his way to the ground, and if he wasn't, he definitely was when his back of his head slammed against the canvas. And then Masvidal had one more punch in there before the ref pulled him off. It was a devastating knockout, man. I think the worst of it, and they didn't even talk about it in the commentary, but man, he fucking slammed the fuck out of the back of his head on the fucking canvas. You know, he got rocked with a really good left overhand. And then I think he caught him with the right hook on the way down, and then slammed the back of his head on the mat. He was definitely out then, and Masvidal had one more, finished it, referee pulled him off. I freaked out. I was like, oh, when the fight was happening, and it was great. Congrats on Masvidal, man. He fucking, like I said, he's Gamebred. I think he can beat anybody in the world at any given time. Might not be the most powerful, athletic, or best guy in any area, but man, this game's Gamebred. When the lights are on and they say, okay, let's fight, let's get it on, and that's a scary dude. And then in the fucking to even back that up, in the fucking post-fight interview, he had a post-fight interview with Laura Sanko, I believe, basically right afterwards, and they were talking to him. They didn't even ask him one question. He didn't even finish his answer. And you didn't see it in the camera, but we know who it was now. But there was somebody off in the distance who I guess was yelling some shit. We now know that person was Leon Edwards, who fought Gunnar Nelson on his card. He won and beat Gunnar Nelson. He was saying some shit towards Masvidal. I don't know exactly what he said, but you hear Masvidal, he just walks away from the interview. He's like, yeah, we'll say it to my face. And then he approaches the guy. You still can't really see who it is. It's in a dimly lit, not alley, but like a hallway, like backstage area. It's probably an area where the fighters and staff can go. So I didn't even know it was Leon Edwards at the time, but then you just saw Masvidal just throw like a 4 to 6 punch combo at this man's face. The other guy threw some punches back, but then it looked like he got pulled and separated pretty quickly. And you heard Laura Sanko go, oh shit, on the mic as they started fucking fighting on fucking ESPN Plus. And they stopped the coverage of it. They pulled the cameras away, which is silly. So that was weird. And one thing real quick, I understand ESPN, they don't want cursing like on television and shit like that, but they got the ESPN Plus platform. Why aren't they, they made Ben Askren and Ben Askren was at the fights, and because he had been talking shit to Till a lot, and I guess he wants Darren Till next, and I say give him that fight since Till lost. Now fuck it, actually don't give it to him, because Till needs to recover. He should recover for a while. I don't want to see him fight for the rest of the year. That's 2 devastating knockouts in a row. First by the former champ Tyron Woodley, and then by Gamebred Masvidal. But Ben Askren has a fucking t-shirt that said curly-headed fuck on it, and in the word fuck, or the letter U, it's a silhouette. It's not a silhouette, but essentially Ben Askren's face, but without his facial features and his little Jew fro, his curly fro, his curly afro. And they made him wear a jacket on the post-fight interview. That's why I'm bringing this up, because it has a curse word, and then Laura Sanko said, oh shit, they're not allowing people to swear on their internet platform, which I guess I get, because advertisers still advertise to an online platform. So whatever. They're just trying to do their dollars or whatever. But I think if they just allowed the cursing, man, it'd be better. It's fucking fighting. You're watching people fucking fight in a fucking cage. Fucking steel cage, but you can't handle some fucking words. Come on, you pussies. Fucking advertisers, too. Fucking cunts. But yeah, it's crazy that was a great fight. Good shit for Masvidal. It was crazy what happened. behind the scenes, post-fight interview with him and Edwards. And honestly, I think they should fight next now. They were ranked 10 and 11th, and they both won, so, they both need somebody that are in the top 10, top 7, top 5, and they probably both are now with those wins. They beat, Masvidal will be the top 3 guy, so he deserves a top 5 guy, at minimum. Well, not at minimum, but I mean, you can make a case, hey, he's top 5 now. He beat the top 3. He beat the number 3. And then Leon Edwards, although Gunnar Nelson's ranked number 13th, we all know Gunnar Nelson's a top 5 guy once he's in shape and stuff and, in the flow and has had a couple fights. He's definitely top 10. He can be top 5. So I don't know. I mean, just with the controversy of Masvidal and Edwards fighting behind stage, man, I think they should fucking just have him fight next, so it'll sell good, Put it as like a third fight on a pay-per-view, or fucking have it as a main event fight on a ESPN Plus card or ESPN card or a co-main event on any of those. That'd be a good fight, and all you gotta do is show the replay of them fighting behind the scenes. That will fucking, although it's not positive marketing, it's marketing. And in the fight game, negative sells, man. Bad blood sells. And the UFC Fight Pass actually has an episode. It's literally called, they've been doing these episodes 25 years in the making, because this is their 25th anniversary. And one of the episodes is called Bad Blood, and they literally just go through the numbers and how, if it's a rivalry fight, it just sells way better than if it's not. It just seems to attract people more, and Bad Blood sells. Shit-talking sells. That's why McGregor is the biggest fucking star the UFC's ever had. He's dwarfed what Ronda Rousey's done. Although Ronda Rousey may have a larger impact culturally as far as, women's fighting and that sort of thing. She essentially started, her and Liz Carmouche, the first ever fight in women's UFC, and then, now they have fucking 3 or 4 divisions in the women's UFC. And they're really good, man. They're really exciting to watch. And they put some respect on women's name. Like, women could fight too, man. All those girls would kick my ass, even though I outweigh all of them. And I'm taller than all of them, larger than all of them, bigger bones, but they'd still kick my ass. I mean, is there nothing sexier than that, though, at the same time? So, I don't know. But McGregor's making so much money now with this whiskey and fighting, and Floyd Mayweather alone. Like, Bad blood sells, shit-talking sells. So I say, fucking book this Masvidal Edwards fight. Neither one of them are hurt. They should be good to go in a couple months. Hey, put it on that Chicago card in June. Because I'm trying to go to that card. So put it on there. I don't think they have any fights set up on that card yet. So put it on that one so I can watch live. That'd be hype. So yeah, that is the recap for, what was that, UFC Fight Night 147 on ESPN Plus. I'm gonna take a little break. I'll play a little ad on here, so if you want to skip that and go straight to the weekend's upcoming fight for the preview of UFC Fight Night 148 on ESPN Plus as well. Prelims are also on ESPN Plus. Main event fight is Steven Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. Be an exciting fight. This comes from Nashville, Tennessee. Let's see, we got Curtis Blades and Justin Willis, co-main. Got Macy Barber in there. Alexis Davis, Jennifer Maya, Angela Hill. There's some fights in here. So yeah, we'll go through that. I'll be back in a sec. All right. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? I know I did for several years before I actually started. I had so many questions. How do I record? Do I need a fancy microphone? Do I need expensive cameras? Do I need to hire somebody? Do I need editing software? Do I need a studio? Do I need a website to, distribute this? How do I pay for a website and hosting? How do I get people to listen? How do I make money? And I struggle with this, and this one, all those questions are the reason why it took me forever to just start. And the awesome thing is that Anchor solves all these questions. They answer all these questions. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. It's ridiculous. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I'm just in my third episode in, and this is my first ad, and they're giving me $10 for this ad. It's only $10, but it's a start, and it will lead to more. So if you always wanted to start a podcast and aim to make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start in order to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Can't wait to hear you. All right, welcome back. Kyle Hyde Club, MMA series number 4. We'll get right into it. UFC Fight Night 148 on ESPN Plus, prelims and main card at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee. Got the main event, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. Co-main, got Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis, rising heavyweight. And other fights. We'll go ahead and get started with the prelims, bruh. Start off the night, we got... What division is this? We got Eric Showtime Shelton and Jordan Espinoza. And a lightweight, flyweight belt. Flyweight is at 125. So we got the little guys. Right? Yeah. So they're putting on 125 fights. At least they're putting on this one. It's number 12 versus number 15 to start it off. Kind of goes to show you that they don't think the UFC flyweights, the little guys, can hold it out. But I disagree. It'll probably be an exciting fight, and I'll make sure to tune into this one to begin the night this Saturday. So we got number 12, Eric Shelton, versus number 15, Jordan Espinoza, to kick off the prelims. They're 13-5 and 12-5 respectively. Honestly, we don't know. I don't know too much about the 125 division except for that Mighty Mouse controlled it for tons of years, had tons of title defenses, and then Cejudo came out of nowhere and beat him. And then DJ, Mighty Mouse, went over and signed with one championship. So the main attraction to that division is now gone from the UFC. I guess it's now Cejudo, who could be a larger star. I mean, he already beat Dillashaw when Dillashaw came down. Maybe they're going to make that fight at 135, or maybe they'll do a rematch at 125. I think both guys want different things, but we'll see how it plays out. Neither one has done anything. So I don't know. So it's kind of, this division's just, they're looking for stars. We need some fresh meat in this division. We need to see, who else can fight in this division. There's Joseph Benavidez that recently fought, and he looked good. I think he deserves the next shot at the 125 belt from Cejudo. And I believe Benavidez beat Cejudo in the past. Maybe it's vice versa, I'm not sure. But either way, so I'll actually be very interested in this fight coming up, because let's see, both guys, guys are number 12 and number 15. They should give you the age on the fucking matchup page on the fucking website, but they don't. They just give you all bullshit stats. But I want to know their age because I want to know, are these up-and-coming guys that possibly have a chance to, like, be in this division for a little bit? Eric Shelton's 28. Espinoza, 29. So, I mean, no. They're like mid-age for, I guess, a UFC career. But they still have plenty of years, so they could get up there in the division. They got time. So, yeah, I look forward to it. I haven't seen either of these guys fight. See if they fought anybody I know of. He beat Morales. I feel like was a Ultimate Fighter contender or winner, but I don't know. And lost to Perez. I don't know any of those. So he's 2-1 in the UFC right now. Eric Shelton. So just getting started. Jordan Espinoza. He's got 2 fights. He's got 2 fights on the Contender Series. So I'd probably watch this guy fight, but I don't remember the decision or finish. I don't remember him, so it couldn't have been that exciting. But I mean, these are little guys. 125. So I mean, we'll see. I'll look forward to it. Hopefully it's a good fight, a fast-paced fight. I like watching the little guys fight. 125ers, 135ers, 145. Really, I really like the 125s because they're so fucking fast, man. They're so quick, and the cardio is pretty much always there for all those guys. They can all probably go 5 rounds easily. So it's interesting from a technical standpoint and a sports standpoint. They might not knock people out all the time, but I mean, they're fighting for a living. How's that not exciting? And the speed and technical precision they have to be the best is just outstanding. And if you want to just look at technique and speed and get the best at that, watch these guys. Watch Mighty Mouse. Watch those fights. Watch Cejudo when he fought Mighty Mouse this last time. Not the first time he fought him, but the second time. Or watch both fights and see how Cejudo improved dramatically over 2 years, which is insane. And beat the best in the world, and then he thought was the pound-for-pound greatest. Was about to break the record for most title defenses. I think that would have tied it or either broke it. And he thought it was going to be an easy fight for DJ for Mighty Mouse, but and that once he wins this, defends his title X amount of times, then he would move up to 135 and fight Dillashaw, or Dillashaw would come down because Mighty Mouse is small for 125. But yeah, who knows? We'll see how all that plays out. I think they should just keep making fights and just see what happens. I mean, people are gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I mean, just make them. Why would you scrap a whole division of fighters that want to fight there? You know, sure, they might not bring in the pay-per-view numbers, but all you do is sprinkle them in here and there in between, the lead-off fights, or even have it the lead-off fight and like before main events and things like that. Sprinkle it in there so that these guys can get their fights, they can get paid, and all the while educate the ignorant-ass fans who just want to see heavyweights knock each other out senseless and have no defense or any kind of game plan. Try to educate them a little bit of the time by sprinkling in these fights, these technical matchups with the smaller, swiftier guys. That's how you should do it. Why would you scrap a whole division? That just makes no sense. Like, the goal should be just more fights, period. So I look forward to that opening fight. Next fight is Ryan McDonald. Even though he's fighting in the second fight, he's not in the main event. He's 10-0 though. Versus Chris El Guapo Gutierrez. First off, I dig the nickname for El Guapo, main event. It's a cool nickname if you're in the main event. But looks like it's Ryan McDonald's debut fight. Don't even have a picture up from on the website or on Google. Like matchups. I'm sure if I typed his name in, I'd see his picture. I don't really give a fuck what you look like though, dude. But he's 5'11", so wait, what division is this? Well, they tell us weight 135. So bantamweight, 5'11", that's pretty tall for a bantamweight. That's like Sean O'Malley, Sugar Show. Ryan McDonald versus Chris Gutierrez. Ryan McDonald's debuted, so he won't have any fight history or anything like that, so I don't know anything about him, but undefeated, so he's obviously good. Says Gutierrez's last fight, he lost. What was his record? He's 12-3-1. It's a pretty good record. He lost the Ultimate Fighter Season 28 finale. He fought on that card versus Barcelos. So yeah, that's that fight. Don't know much about him, so I won't speak on it too much. Next fight, this will be a nice, exciting women's fight in the flyweight division. We got Randa Marcos versus Angela Hill. Both these ladies are in the UFC 3 video game. I play with them both. That's probably how much I know about them, is playing from them. I know I've seen Angela Hill fight in the past. She's been in the UFC for a little while. I can't remember the last time she fought, though. Let's see about Randa Marcos. She lost to Nina Ansaroff, Amanda Nunes' girlfriend, about a year ago. Fought Rodriguez, beat Lima. She's had more fights in the past. So yeah, she's been around for a while too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Damn, so this would be her 7th fight in the UFC. That's crazy. She's 8-7-1. It's not the greatest record in the world. But she seems like a decent fighter. We'll see how it goes. She's ranked 15th. And I didn't know this, but I got a ESPN alert about her that she's actually from Iraq, and she's an Iraqi refugee. So I believe she came over, I don't know if she came over to America, but she went over to another country and was a refugee, and now she's fighting professionally in the UFC. I'm sure making decent money. Feed herself and her family and provide better for them. I don't know too much of her situation, but I just got that alert. It was pretty cool. Probably should have read the story, but I have a full-time job too. I'm just finding excuses to half-ass it. And then Angela Hill's 8-5. I'm surprised her record's that low. Let's go back to the matchup real quick. 5'4" versus 5'3". So I thought Angela Hill was pretty long. And she has a half-inch reach advantage, but her leg reach is smaller. So that's interesting. I thought Angela Hill was long and lanky, but I guess I'm remembering that wrong. I mean, she's definitely skinny. Yeah, this will be an interesting fight. She lost to Rose Namajunas way back when. Angela Hill's been in UFC for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This will be her 9th fight in the UFC. Wow. She's fought some fighters too. Tisha Torres, Rose Namajunas, Jessica Andrade, Ashley Yoder, Nina Ansaroff, Angela Hill. Another Hill. No, she is Angela Hill. Not Angela Hill. What did I just say? Morose. Oh, Ansaroff. Morose. Don't know who that is. And Casey. She's fought so many people. God damn. But we'll see how that plays out. I haven't seen Marcus fight, but if I had to base it solely off the video game, think Angela Hill's probably the favorite, and yep, she's betting favorite. I thought she'd be the longer fighter, but I guess not. But I think she'll be the most athletic, the more fluid on the feet. Hoping she'd pick her apart from there. Don't know if Marcos has any ground game or either one has a ground game, so we'll see how that plays out. I think that's a good fight though. Next fight, maybe an even better fight is Alexi Davis versus Jennifer Maia. Okay, so so we got Alexi Davis, who's 19-8. She's been around for a while, versus Jennifer Maia, number 11. Alexi Davis, number 5. Maia's 15-5-1, so both got decent records, and this is 130. Oh, this is at the 125 division. Nice. So they're filling in that division. Nice to see some girls falling into the 125 division. Because for the longest time, they only had 115 and 135. So then women like Valentina Shevchenko, for example, fight in between both, but not really fit into either one. Like, she's a little too small for 135. Like, she's smaller than Nunes, Holm, all those girls. Even Misha Tate. I mean, she's just smaller. And then for 115, that's quite too big, and that's a big cut. So I mean, 10 pounds is a lot, especially at that smaller size. And it matters. 10 pounds matters even more. Just off ratio basics. So yeah, it's cool to see that some of these women are finding a place at 125, and they're not in betweeners now. They have a division for them, and now they could fight at their peak weight, their peak fight weight, and do their best to get to the top and try to get a belt. So this will be probably a good fight going into the future, determining how it goes and who wins, on who will be a potential champion contender versus Valentina Shevchenko. So I don't see anybody beating Valentina Shevchenko at 125 unless Amanda Nunes goes down there and does that, or Holly Holm, but I don't think either one of them can cut down to 125. I feel like Nunes said she was going to do it, but I don't think so. I think she's trying to fight Holm. So I don't know. I don't see anybody from 115 going up to beat Valentina Shevchenko. No offense to any of them. And as we saw, Joanna lost to her. Joanna, a young J chick who had been the long-time champion at 115 before she lost to Rose Namajunas. I don't think Rose Namajunas could go up to 125 and beat Shevchenko. But vice versa, I don't think Shevchenko could go down to 115 and beat either of those ladies. So, who knows? So it's just really cool to see the division thickening. More people getting into it. So Alexi Davis has been in the UFC for a while, since 2013. Has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 professional fights. Will be her 10th. She lost to Kukagan, her last fight back in July. Beat Liz Carmouche before that. Some other wins. This will be the first time fighting in about a year. She's ranked number 5, so that's pretty cool. And then she'll be fighting Jennifer Maia. Is she related to Damian Maia by chance? I don't know if she is. I don't think so. She's only had one fight, and that was versus Liz Carmouche, and she lost. But she is ranked number... Was that she ranked number 11th, even though she has one fight in the UFC, she lost. Alright, I'm looking at Maya's. Okay. Okay, she's obviously not related. Damian Maia, because I feel like if she was, that'd be the first thing they'd list on her Wikipedia page, right? And like, there's not even a family section or related to anything. But yeah, it's whatever. It looks like she's a boxer, so there's no way she'll be related to Damian Maia and not having some jiu-jitsu skills. But no matter what, this will be a very exciting fight. It's very cool to see these ladies fill in the 125 division, and I look forward to it. That's the third to last fight on the prelims. To continue going on with that, next we got Marlon Vera versus Frankie Saenz. I don't know. I feel like I've heard of both these guys. I don't know if I've seen them fight. I may or may not have. This is at 135. Vera's got a 2-inch height advantage, 4.5 reach advantage, and 2.5 leg reach advantage. So he's definitely got the size advantage over Frankie. Let me go back. And just FYI, Alexi Davis is a -150 favorite versus Jennifer Maia +130. I don't know how that fight's going to play out, but I feel like Alexi Davis's veteran know-how might get it done. And that's obviously with my limited experience in seeing either of them fight. So we got Marlon Vera versus Frankie Saenz. I'm going to look at both these guys, see who they fought in the past, see if that'll trigger my mind, see if I remember them. So yeah, Marlon Vera has been in the fight, he's been real active. He had 3 fights last year, nice. He's had a bunch of fights in the UFC, so he's been around for a while. Wow, load more. There's more. 1, 2. He's been in the UFC since 2014. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights in the UFC. Is his 11th. Fought Kennedy last time. I believe he won. He fought John Lineker back in October of 2017 and lost. Fought Brian Kelleher, won July 2017. Beat Pickett. Lost to Grant. So he's had some fights, man. This guy's been around. He can brawl. He can do it all. Let's see, Frankie. He beat Barones. When was that? That was back in May 2018. He fought Faber all the way back in December 2015. Lost 3-round decision. So yeah, I don't know too much about either of these guys. I can't remember their style. Vera's -150, Frankie's +130. Probably sounds about right considering Vera's experience, and it just looks like, honestly, just looking at the pictures, it looks like an athlete is about to fight somebody's uncle. So with that alone, I think he should be a betting favorite. He's 26, a 26-year-old fighting a 38-year-old. So yeah. Yeah. See how that goes. The last fight on the prelims is Bryce Mitchell versus Bobby Moffitt. Bryce Thug Nasty Mitchell and Bobby the Wolfman Moffitt. Both 5'10". This is at 145 featherweight. But Moffitt will have a 4-inch reach advantage. I know I've seen the Wolfman fight, and I think I've seen Thug Nasty fight as well. Yeah. Fought the Ultimate Fighter finale and won. He won by decision versus Diamond, whoever that is. I don't really remember the fight, so I can't say anything about it. 24-year-old. Just looks like a young buck. And then we got, he's 10-1. Bryce Mitchell. Bob Moffitt's 13-3. He's 28. Who's he fought? Because I know I've seen him fight. He fought Skelly and beat him with a submission. Nice. I kind of remember that fight being kind of a war. And somehow I pulled out the submission. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But either way, I think this will be a good fight to close out the prelims. Kind of highlight two up-and-coming fighters, young up-and-coming fighters that both have some promise, with good records. And they got cool nicknames. Thug Nasty versus the Wolfman. You know, can you get better than that? So that ends the prelims. And I've just been rambling on about these prelims. So let's finally get to this main card. And so I can shut the fuck up. And you can, I don't know, do whatever the fuck you should be doing. Or maybe you're doing what you should be doing by listening to this UFC mumbling in Kaha Club. To start out the main card, we got Macy Barber versus JJ Aldridge. I know I saw Macy Barber fight, her last fight. I forget who it was, and she looked fucking amazing. Not only is she cute, but this chick, and she's 20 fucking years old. She's a fighter, man. She fought in Contender Series, and then fought Hannah Cyphers. Beat her up pretty good. And Cyphers is tough. She threw some shit back, but Macy Barber was just nasty. She has really good hands. I think she has pretty good jiu-jitsu as well. But yeah, she's gonna be a star one day. I think, and that's why they put her to start off this this main card on ESPN Plus. And she's getting a good, good contender, good fighter. You know, this won't be an easy fight for her. Her second fight in the UFC. Third if you count the Contender Series, but not really. The Contender Series is just, it's professional fight, it counts, but it's not technically a fight with the UFC, I guess. I don't know, but they list on their website, whatever. But she'll be fighting JJ Aldridge. And I thought her nickname was Cole, JJ Cole Aldridge. I don't know why. But I know there's basketball player Cole, and then I think J. Cole. So, like, your nickname should be Cole. But she's had 4 fights in the UFC. She's, what was her record? She's 7-2 overall. She's 3-1. So she's on a 3-fight win streak in the UFC. Her debut she lost back in December 2016. Right off 3 wins since then. It's been about 8 months since her last fight. Oh, and she last fought Polyana Viana, who I know she just last fought. Who did Polyana just fight? Oh, come on. Don't give me stupid ads. I want no fucking ads, bro. Polyana Viana. This will be an exciting fight for Macy Barber and Aldridge. And we'll see. I mean, if she fought Cyphers. What the fuck? And Cyphers beat her, though. Yeah. So she lost to Hannah Cyphers. And Macy Barber beat the fuck out of Hannah Cyphers. So, what's the betting on this? Yeah, Macy Barber is -220 favorite. Aldridge is +180. Aldridge is solid. She's 3-fight win streak. And her game stand up, but I think Macy Barber's stand up is more nasty. She might not be as fluid and as quick on her feet, but I think she's probably a better and stronger athlete. If it comes to it, if she's not finding her place on the feet, I think she'll easily be able to take down Aldridge and beat her face in. And yeah, that's how I think it'll go, but we'll see. That's why it's a fight. You gotta actually watch it, motherfucker. So then the next fight after that, we got Luis Pena versus Steven Patterson. Luis Violent Bob Ross Pena. That's awesome. And Steven Ocho Peterson. That might be the coolest nickname. And this dude literally looks like Bob Ross, except he's a little darker. He's got like caramel complexion. He's 5-1. Steven Peterson 17-7. I believe I've seen both these guys fight. And I remember Luis Pena until I saw the nickname Violent Bob Ross, and I actually looked at his face. And then Steven Peterson, don't recognize the name. That's a very common name, but he's got Superman symbol tattooed on his chest with some flames out of it, coming down into some other shit. I can't really tell from the picture, but it looks pretty cool. You know, I mean, it is a Superman symbol at the end of the day. It's like, okay, you got a fake character emblem tattooed on your chest forever. But word, it does look pretty dope though. It's just a piece of art. Pena is 6'3", Peterson's 5'10", so he's got a 4 reach advantage, 4-inch reach advantage, 4-inch height advantage, and then he has a 6-inch reach advantage, and reach advantage in his legs as well. I know Pena likes to fight on the outside and use that reach and distance, obviously. He hasn't really fought anybody notable. Peterson, who did he fight last? Bassett, and that was a year ago. I fought Brandon Davis. He lost. Brandon Davis looked good, and then fought Zabit after that. So we'll see how this goes. What's the better line? Yeah, Luis Pena minus 280, Peterson plus 240. Yeah, I'd figure as such, and that's probably how I think it goes. Well, probably Pena keeping on the outside, keeping on the distance, maybe fucking up with the head kick. All right, next fight. This is also at 125. Dope, and this will be this is essentially a contender fight. You know, after Benavidez, one of these guys. So we got Jaser Formiga, I hope I said that right, versus Davison Figueiredo, who's undefeated, 15-0, he's ranked 4th now. Formiga is 22-5. Both guys are solid fighters. I think I remember Figueiredo fighting, but I can't remember who he fought last. Maybe I've seen Formiga fight. I know I've heard his name, but I don't remember. Oh, he fought Showtime Pettis. Or no, Anthony Pettis' little brother. He beat him. That was October 6, 2018. Was that when the UFC was in... Oh, 2018. Wait, no, yeah. Was that when the UFC was in Milwaukee? If so, I saw this fight live. UFC 229, so no. Maybe that was the one in Chicago. No, it wasn't. That was the one with fucking Khabib. That was in Vegas, you fucking retard. Okay, I didn't see that one. Yeah. is good if you beat Little Pettis. Little Pettis is pretty decent. He's top 5 guy at division. I think he returned to 135 though. And Figueiredo, number 4, he's undefeated. Who did he last fight? He beat Moraga. He beat him. Beat Morales, beat Brooks. I was gonna say he's a 3-4 fight win streak in the UFC. Obviously, he's undefeated. 31-year-old. His time is now. So yeah, it'll be an exciting fight for the 125 division to see how things shake out there. See who might be the next number 1, contender to face Cejudo. Whenever Cejudo decide to defend that belt at 125, or somebody not named TJ Dillashaw, and gives one of these guys a shot. Especially this guy that's undefeated. If he gets a fucking win, bro, versus the number 1 ranked guy, he's got me next, man. He's undefeated. Give him a shot. What are the odds on that? I don't know too much about their fighting styles or anything like that. So we'll see. Formiga is plus 125 underdog. Figueiredo is minus 145 favorite. So undefeated guy's a favorite. Slight favorite. Then the third to last fight, we got John Makdessi versus Jesus Pinedo. John Makdessi. I feel like I've heard his name before, but I don't know. I have not heard of Jesus Pinedo. Jesus Pinedo is 155 fight. Jesus has a 2-inch height advantage. They don't list his reach. Okay. You can get his height, but not his arm length. Come on, bruh. Use the same tool. It's called fucking tape measure. When you use a tape measure to fucking measure his height, you just do the same thing to measure his arm length. You fuck. John Makdessi. Let's see. Last fought Ross Peterson and beat him back in July of 2018. Beat Jorge. Lost to Vanada before that. Beat Baghdad. Lost to Yancey. Not showing the Cowboy Cerrone result or that result. But Makdessi's been around for a while. Oh my god. I keep just clicking load more on his profile and just more fights just keep loading. This man's been around forever. He's been fighting the UFC since 2010, so he's been in there for 8 years. How many fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16 fights in the UFC. Jesus. So I'll have a 17th versus Jesus Benedale. After his last win decision versus Ross Pearson. Benedale. He's 22-year-old, so he's an up-and-comer. He hasn't been around for a while, so this is a test right here. Jesus, if you win this fight, this launches you right into, right on the outskirts of that top 15 contender spot, man. Makdessi's been in the UFC. I was gonna say in the league. I mean, this is the league for a while now. So you get a win over him, that'll fucking launch your career, dude. So good luck. Makdessi's minus 325 underdog, and Jesus is plus 26. I fucked it up, didn't I? Makdessi's minus 325 favorite. Jesus is plus 26.5 underdog. And then, so the co-main event, this will be a good fight. I'm looking forward to this. As long as they don't gas out. As long as Willis doesn't gas out. Is Curtis Blades' his heavyweight fight between Curtis Blades, who's 10-2. His last fight was against Francis Ngannou. He got knocked the fuck out. They both just started swinging on each other, and that never works out when you're swinging with another dude that can knock you out in one punch. You're just waiting for somebody to check that box and, just click you on the chin, and it's good night. Say good night, Irene. Then we got Justin Willis, who's 8-1. I think he's a younger fighter, or at least he's new to the UFC. Blades is ranked 4th. Willis is ranked 10th. And that's nice to see a newer guy up there in the rankings so quickly. Get some fresh blood in this division. Blades is no slouch either. You'll have a 3-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage, and 5-inch leg reach advantage. So Justin Willis is short and stocky. They'll both be cutting down to 265. Blades is a little more jacked and toned, whereas Willis looks like he packed some snacks. Honestly, it looks like he packed a full course meal and another one for later, for after the show. But yeah, Blades got knocked the fuck out versus Ngannou his last fight in 45 seconds. Maybe that was at the end of the 45, I don't know. And then he beat Overeem before that, and Mark Hunt. Like, this guy, I thought this was my dark horse to maybe not beat DC for the heavyweight title, but to at least, have a title shot sooner or later. And I think he will. I mean, he's 4th right now. Blades is only, he's 28. So he'll definitely get a title shot. If he wins this, he'll be right up in there in discussion. Maybe he fights JDS after that. That'd be a good matchup. Or, yeah. Dude, that'd be a really good matchup. I'd pay to see that. So yeah, and then Justin Willis, Big Pretty Justin Willis. He's ranked 10th, 8-1. He last fought Mark Hunt and he beat him in a decision. That was back in December 1st, 2018. I knew this guy was good, and he beat Anthony Sherman before that, and Crowder before that. Crowder was the guy that fought Greg Hardy. He knocked Crowder out in the first round, and he had a win before that as well. So he's undefeated in the UFC, 4-0, 4-5 win streak in the UFC. That's at heavyweight too. That's pretty fucking impressive, especially when you fought Mark fucking Hunt. So this will be a huge test for him. I think we'll see very quickly if he has any fucking takedown defense, because Blades likes to take it to the ground. He's got good wrestling. And so that's why I was really confused when he fought Ngannou, and he just stood toe-to-toe with him and started swinging and tried to knock each other out. I don't understand why he just didn't take him down. I mean, that's easier said than done. I was a fucking physical freak. But he should have tried at least, instead of just swinging at him. So, I don't know. I think he should at least go this route with Willis. Willis obviously has some punching power. He's knocked out some dudes. He's stood in there with Mark Hunt. So we'll see if he has any takedown defense, ground game. This might end up being a grueling, brawling fight. And honestly, it might end up being boring because Willis, as I said, is packing a couple lunches. He packed. What's that called? He meal prepped his lunches for the week. So he went full distance with Mark Hunt, and Anthony Sherman, in his first fight in the UFC. So he's gone the distance 3 times now. So maybe he can. I think Blades will be fine, fatigue-wise, cardio-wise, and hopefully he just gets back to a smarter game plan instead of just swinging on dudes that can knock you the fuck out. Let's look at the betting line. -280 favorite for Blades, +240 for Willis. Say it's probably accurate. I don't know. I don't really see Willis beating Blades unless Blades tries to fight him like he did Ngannou, and he just gets clipped. But Blade still has a chin. Like, it took a couple shots from Ngannou for him to fall. I don't think Willis is the athlete nor has the speed as Ngannou does. So I don't know if the one-punch knockout will be there, or the combos for that matter, especially if he takes to the ground. So yeah, it'll be an interesting fight nonetheless. And then to close out the night, UFC Fight Night, 148. It's what we've been waiting for. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Showtime Pettis. Wonderboy's 14-3-1 in the UFC. Anthony Pettis 21-8. Of course, if you guys haven't, please go back and look up a highlight film of Anthony Pettis and Wonderboy. Both of them. They both are highlight reels, highlight knockouts, spinning wheel kicks. Fucking Pettis has a fucking highlight where he's the one that fucking runs up the cage and kicks a guy in the face and knocks him out. Only one ever to do that. And Thompson's got nasty kicks, nasty kickboxing. Anthony Pettis is just a fucking dog. There was this, and I think he hasn't won a fight in a while, actually. But there was a point there. He was the champ at one point, and then he kind of just tailed off, lost a bunch of fights in a row. I still don't think he's won in a while. I'm about to check. Or no, he beat Chiesa. That's right. Before he fought Ferguson for their interim belt. Okay. It's my bad, bro. You have won recently. But he fought Ferguson for the belt, or interim belt, back in October 2018. And he got TKO'd. But he looked amazing that fight. He looked really good. He looked quick, sharp, focused. But Ferguson's just a whole nother monster. He's just on a whole nother level. Not saying Pettis isn't on that level, on that championship level. He obviously is because he's a former champion. But I think Ferguson's on a whole nother level, man. I just think he is. He's like in that Matrix level. While Pettis and these other guys below him are still trying to figure out if the Matrix is real or not, While Ferguson's a master in the Matrix, they're still like questioning whether it actually exists or not. But even though he lost that fight, he was nasty. He had blood all over his face. He took Tony Ferguson down, and then laid some ground pound on him. And like made a face, like made a tongue sticking out, and like screamed. It was savage. It was awesome. As I said before, he's a former champion. He's been in the ring for a hot minute now, since 2011. His debut fight was against Clay Guida, and he lost that. Then he fought Jeremy Stevens, beat him. He beat Joe Lozon. These are all household names just to start off. That's crazy. And then he beats Donald Cerrone. Then he beats Ben Henderson. Then Gilbert Melendez. Oh my God. Those are all top guys, man. I mean, Guida not now, but in his prime, yes. Jeremy Stevens is a top-ranked guy. Joe Lozon, I think, is top 15, but he just lost. But he's a stable veteran. Donald Cerrone's a top dude. I'm going to talk about Cerrone here later on. Ben Henderson was a top dude. Gilbert Melendez was. And then he lost to Dos Anjos in 2015 for the belt, it looks like. Maybe he never had the belt. Oh, my God. But then after he lost to Dos Anjos, he lost to Eddie Alvarez, and then he lost to Edson Barboza. Bro, those are fucking names, bro. It's just all names. This man's fought who's who. He lost to Charles Oliveira by submission. Then he lost to Max Holloway. And then he beat Jim Miller. Then he lost to Dustin Poirier. He's going to fight Holloway for the interim belt coming up. Then beat Chiesa and lost to Pettis. So he's been up and down. But, he's 21-8. He's a fucking stud. Exciting to watch. And this will be exciting, I think, because a lot of guys, they showed the blueprint on... Well, Tyron Woodley showed the blueprint on how to beat Wonderboy. Just stay patient, stay cautious. And when he slips, wait for his counter him, because Wonderboy is a counter striker. And take him down if you can. So it might not be the smartest approach, but I think Pettis, he's Showtime. So he's going to go out there and fucking, he's going to attack him, and he either is going to put him out and make him look silly like he never has before, or Wonderboy's going to make him look silly like he's done to hundreds of guys in the past. But we'll see. Of course, Wonderboy last fought Darren Till, and he lost to him in a decision, a 5-round decision. I thought it was a little controversial, but that's judges, and that fight was also in England, and I think the crowd kind of swayed the opinion of the judges in that fight. Anytime Till hit Wonderboy, they went, ooh, but nothing whenever Thompson would counter him beautifully or miss out of the way of his strikes or anything like that. Till was definitely the more aggressive fighter, but yeah, who knows? It's in the past. Before that, Wonderboy beat Masvidal, who we just saw Masvidal beat Till. So I'm going to do some MMA math there. And then, of course, before that, Woodley and Wonderboy fought twice in back-to-back rematches. First the draw, then the decision. I can't remember if it was a split decision or not. But then before that, Wonderboy's basically beat everybody amazingly. And great kickboxer. He beat Rory McDonald. 5-round fight. He beat Johnny Hendricks. Beat Jake Ellenberg, Patrick Cote. He even beat Robert Whitaker before Whitaker moved. Did he move up? Yeah, before Whitaker moved up to 185. Forgot about that. Then beat Clements. Beat Burrell. Oh, we lost to Matt Brown back in 2012. Damn, I didn't know Wonderboy's been in the UFC since 2012. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 13 fights in the UFC. Shows how big of a fan I am. Yeah, this will be an exciting fight. A very good main event. Great way to close out the night. And I really, really look forward to it. 5 rounds with these guys is going to be amazing. Can't fucking wait. So yeah, that's basically it for that recap. Also, I want to just touch base on some MMA news, some UFC news. A fight that was just recently announced, literally today, like about an hour ago, while I was doing this. It was right before I was doing this. Donald Cowboy Cerrone has signed to fight Al Iaquinta May 4th in Ottawa, Canada. And that'll be an amazing fight. I was really looking forward to Cowboy and McGregor fighting, because that'd probably be the biggest money fight out there in the UFC. Well, anything with McGregor. But is Cowboy the next biggest star? I don't know. He might be. He's definitely one of the most popular UFC fighters out there. I don't know. Who's the second biggest star after McGregor? DC? No, I know who. Bones. John Jones. John Jones is the second after McGregor, obviously. But who's after that? Who's top 5? DC maybe third? And then maybe Cowboy? I can't really think of who else. Sure, other guys are bigger in other markets, but I'm talking about America. The place where you'll actually make pay-per-view money. Pay-per-view model is outdated and they should replace it. Just put all the fights on ESPN. That's bad. Advertising dollars, insane. They'll do them all on ESPN. Because I like when they curse and shit. There's just blood everywhere. Fuck it. ESPN won't let you do that. So I don't know. Continue the pay-per-view, but make them free. I don't know. So yeah, those two signed up to fight Cowboy and Al Iaquinta. This will be a great fight at 155. I think Al deserves top contender, if not a title shot. Same with Cowboy. I don't think Cowboy deserves a title shot yet, but that's what he said he's looking forward to doing. That's what he wants to do. He's refocused after he had a child, after he had a son, Danger. And beat up Alex Hernandez, who was a cocky young bull and thought he could just run through the old bull, but he got schooled, and swiftly too, dominantly. And Cowboy looked great in his fight before that, so I really look forward to that. And then one of those two guys deserves, man, I was gonna say they deserve a title shot, but that division is so fucking murky, man. They need to make that 165 division. There's too many fighters in that division, bro. There's just way too many. Because sure, you can say one of those guys deserves the next title shot, but you can't, because currently Khabib's the champ at 155, but he's suspended and he's not going to do Vegas's commercial or whatever. So he's suspended till I think like November. It was 9 months or something, or an incident happened in November, so he's probably free in like July, August. So he's out for a while, so that division's on hold. So they're doing an interim title fight with Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. Now, it should have been Max Holloway versus Tony Ferguson, but reports are as Ferguson decided not to accept the fight because it wasn't for the title. Well, that sucks, man, because, and he said he already had the interim belt. Well, yeah, but I don't know, man. They're doing this fight now because you said no. So now whoever wins versus Holloway and Poirier deserves the next shot because they have the most current interim belt. Obviously, interim belts are bullshit. We all know it. But it is just a marketing gimmick / ploy to make this fight more exciting. That's really all it is. But one of those guys, Holloway or Poirier, would deserve the next title shot, especially if Holloway wins, because then he'd be a 2-division champ. And, and then where does that leave Ferguson? Ferguson deserves a fucking shot, man. Give that man a fucking title shot already, man. He hasn't had it. And it fucking sucks. But then now this fight happens, between McGregor or Cowboy and Iaquinta. Fucking Iaquinta's he's the guy that's looked the best for Khabib, and that was off a day notice. He had no idea he was going 5 rounds, and he wasn't prepared for takedowns. He was just going to fight Paul Felder, who likes to stand and bang. So, and I mean, look, he didn't win the fight, obviously, but he showed some chinks in Khabib's armor for sure. And he showed that the guy can be beat, although he has not yet been beat. And who knows, Iaquinta might be the guy if he had a full training camp centered and structured around Khabib. And that was a great fight for Iaquinta because it rose his stock up and made you realize, oh, okay, this guy's for real. So yeah, now these two will fight. If Cowboy wins, it's like, oh fuck, this man's for real, yo. We know he's for real, but is he top 5 for real? Well, if he wins this fight, he is. You know what? I'm gonna look at the rankings. Where do they have him ranked right now? Where do they have both those guys ranked? And I only have 3 minutes left, so we'll be closing this out soon. They got Iaquinta 4th after Ferguson, McGregor, Poirier. They got Cerrone 9, so yeah, if Cerrone wins, that'd launch him top 5, man. It would, and and then I haven't even mentioned McGregor, really. Who's he fight? Because all the other guys got fucking fights, bro. You got nobody. You're gonna end up fighting Barboza and him kicking you in the face, or Kevin Lee's gonna wrestle you to the ground. Everyone in 155 has a fight already, besides Khabib. But Khabib's suspended. Ferguson doesn't have a fight. So maybe Ferguson, McGregor. Ooh. That should be a fight. Poirier's going to fight for the interim. Iaquinta's got a bout. Lee just lost to Iaquinta, so he needs an opponent. Barboza needs an opponent. He won on the same card as those two guys I just mentioned. Gaethje needs an opponent. Pettis got to fight. Cerrone's got to fight Felder. McGregor's not going to fight Felder. You know, you can still fight Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is still there. So, I mean, we'll see. Should fight Ferguson, but it won't. That division's so shaky. It's so messy. But I'm done talking about this shit, and I want to make dinner now because I'm hungry. Love all you guys. Look forward to these fights coming up. Let's see. I got a minute left. What's the next event? Is there a break after this weekend? And then Holloway, Poirier, and then the pay-per-view. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Gaethje and Barboza are fighting each other. That's right, in Philly. I forgot. So they got opponents, too. So, yeah, that's next weekend. Barboza versus Gaethje. And then you got a weekend break. And then Holloway versus Poirier 2. That'll be dope. Look forward to all those. Look forward to talking about them. Love you guys. Bye.